For more on China's relations with ASEAN, Peter Chang joins us now from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He is the Deputy Director of the Institute of China Studies at the University of Malaya. Peter, Wang, as we just pointed out, Ryan pointing out in his story, he's attending these meetings. Had some meetings today, of course, canceled the other one with his Japanese counterpart. What do you make of the gathering so far and his actions?
I think it's understandable because it's really a response, a kind of a protest against what's happened at Taiwan with Pelosi's visit and the Japanese sort of siding with the Americans on that episode. So Wang Yi's position is quite understandable from us.
And Peter, how would you characterize China's relations with ASEAN?
China's relations to ASEAN is pretty steady and pretty firm, I think. We have a good understanding of each other's expectation, and we have a lot of room for cooperation. We have some challenges and differences, but there is this broader understanding that there are a lot of room for cooperation.
The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership went into full force in January. We're already seeing an uptick in trade between China and ASEAN nations. Give us an idea of how RCEP has kind of changed the landscape and impacted the relationship.
I think RCEP is so important right now because it is such a counter-narrative to the prevailing narrative of deglobalization and decoupling of the two super economies. RCEP gives a different take on how countries around the world could approach the future. There is room for cooperation. There is room for coming together. There is room in which we can work together to uplift the common good of the people in the region. And the focus on economy is absolutely critical. And for us in the ASEAN and also for China as well, the focus that we want to give to the priority is really socio-economic uplift. So RCEP sets the tone for us. I know it sets the tone not only for us, and hopefully it sets the tone for the rest of the world, that there is room for cooperation, and if we could just focus on the economic dimension, that a lot of good could come out of it.
Peter, you were talking about more room for growth, and basically we're looking at this gathering. I have to ask, regionally, obviously you've got a lot of different countries there that have good relations with China and with the United States. They want to maintain that. How does the most recent trip by Pelosi kind of upend regional stability in a sense?
Yeah, it's pretty. ASEAN as a whole has always wanted both powers to be able to maintain a kind of equilibrium of stability, not to escalate the situation. We understand that there are some hotspots and tensions in the region, for example, in the South China Sea and across the Taiwan Strait. But we understand that this will take some time to resolve and not to try to escalate it. Any events or any episodes that would lead to any escalation is really a downer for us. So ASEAN feels somewhat uncomfortable with what's happened in the last few days, and we hope that both sides will now step back and try to de-escalate the situation, try to cool down, and then try to find sort of an understanding again, and looking forward, try to find a peaceful way to resolve the conflict.
Peter Chang, thanks so much for your insights. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.